Hi, everybody. Uh, it's been a while. This is part two, I guess, phase two, whatever you want to call it. This is the first video that I've recorded in about 6 months. 5.5, 6 months. Okay. Uh, I knew back in the late December, I think it was right before or right after Christmas, I had got the direction from a higher self, Big Me, to Spirit, whatever you want to call it. I prefer Big Me. I got the direction to uh, change, do a switch, change direction to where previous I was just telling my story, my spiritual awakening, and okay, so that was pretty much done. It felt done, and I was told that it was done. So the new direction that I was getting was it was a working title called Tapestry because I have this thing in my head, this vision in my head that is basically a tapestry. It's viewed from the big story and it's just all the different connections. Yeah, I'm not going to edit. I am getting ready to start editing again. It's from all different perspectives that can only be viewed from the big story, from like Q says, the 40,000 foot view. And I'm going to categorically state I am a Q follower, have been from the very beginning. This is not the least bit political. Uh, this next direction that I'm going in with these next series of videos is basically the tapestry. Start sort of illustrating different threads of the tapestry, and as Spirit directs, I will be weaving, to the best of my ability, weaving the tapestry, connecting the dots, however you want to phrase it. There's a lot of videos, a lot of channels that are doing this. Uh, we're all in this together. Nobody knows the whole thing. I don't see the whole picture. There's various channels that I follow to get additional data because they have better expertise than I do, where they can see stuff in a lot more detailed fashion and perspective than I can. But then I take their pieces and I weave them into their threads and I weave them into the tapestry. And when I say threads, it has nothing to do with the online social media because I don't do Twitter or Facebook or any of that. So, but I know that that's a phrase in that area. But I'm just talking about threads of the tapestry that's being weaved that I see and from the larger perspective. Uh, so this is just going to be like a short introduction, but I wanted to talk about the title of the channel, Big Story Gazette. Gazette is a name of is a phrase that you can use for a periodical. It can be a newspaper, it can be a magazine, it can be a newsletter. This is like basically when Spirit, bigger self, whatever. When I'm gonna just say Spirit or Big Me, and they'll be synonymous. Well, when Big Me years ago gave me the title to this, long before I knew what a vlog was or a YouTube channel, I hadn't even never been on YouTube before. Uh, but the title was given to me, Big Story Gazette, because that's when I got it. When I finally got to the place to start making these video contributions, it would be on a periodic basis, whether it be daily or weekly or bi-monthly or whatever, or hell, just multiple videos per day. It was going to be like installments, a sequential type thing, or not necessarily sequential, building upon one specifically leaning and building upon the other, but one after the other. So like a periodical, like back in the day, how we did the newsletters. Same thing. This would be like a video newsletter, or so that was what Gazette was about. And so that's where how I'm gonna be doing this. Maybe little shorter installments, but more, multiple per day, or as I get data, because I get insights and data from Big Me all the time. I have conversations with Big Me, continuous. And like I laughed the other day where I realized I don't analyze much. The little me, Michael, the small me, I don't analyze things in my head to 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 a great degree because I've surrendered to spirit long ago, realized that I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Uh, what little I do know is like Hilarious said, we operate on a need to know basis. We know everything we need to know in each now moment. So until the next now moment comes, what little I know is all I know. But I'm good with that. Uh, so I basically I'm going to be weaving this tapestry to all of those. Oh, and I want to say this, like I said before in the first set of videos, I'm not here to argue with anybody. I honor and respect your right to your opinion, your perspective. But I really would like people to subscribe if you haven't already. Share these videos if you haven't already. Tell somebody about this channel if you haven't already. I'm not trying to build up a big following. I will never ask for any money. These will never be monetized. This is just sharing the data. But we are in a war. And I say war because we are. And it hasn't nothing to do with third dimensional war, but it does. It doesn't have anything to do with galactic war, but it does. Very paradoxically, we are in a war. And I will, as I go on, I don't want to get caught up in on a tangent right now in this very first return video, but basically, like General Michael Flynn said, we are all digital soldiers. This is all part of the ascension process. Everything that we're going on every level is part of it because there is only one. There's only unity, regardless of whether you're viewing it from within the polarity or outside polarity. There is only unity. Even the polarity of itself is still unity because it's both sides. You can't have positive without the negative. So they are really connected. Uh, so, uh, all that being said, I think, what I was, where I was going is, I welcome everybody. Uh, Please share these videos. Please comment. I want to hear what you have to say. I would like a dialogue. I would like, and nobody's right or wrong. So if you want to disagree with me, that's fine. By all means, disagree. And, share with me so that we can, because I can learn from you and you can learn from me. I don't know it all. Absolutely don't know it all, which is why I sit around all day and there's certain channels that I follow on different levels. There's channels I follow on the spiritual level. There's channels I follow on the third dimensional political level. There's channels that I follow just on the third dimensional everyday life channels. If you go to if you just explore this channel, you look at who I subscribe to. I am all over the place. I subscribe to like over 100 different channels. I am all over the place. I'm into drag racing, motorcycle, car drag racing. I'm into uh, crop circles. Don't get me started on crop circles. I'm just fascinated by crop circles. Uh, a lot of esoteric, a lot of comedy. Uh, Dry bar comedy is one of my favorites. I don't so much like all the standard third dimensional comedy where it's all cussing and fussing and this and that. I really like this one channel, Dry Bar Comedy, because it's clean comedy. One of the specific guidelines of the comedians when they perform is no cussing, no, there's no alcohol served in the club, and the club is always full. Uh, but it just good, clean comedy, funny as it could be. It's one of my favorite channels. But anyway, you'll see that I'm all over the place. I'm not just in my interest, but this is the biggest thing that I love to do. I was just sharing with my my younger sister, text yesterday. She and I, and I'll close with this. Her name is Cynthia. She and I are the two members of my family, or actually, she's the only person in my immediate environment that I can have a conversation with and not edit. She's the only person that truly, truly gets me, that I can talk to. And like we have on an average of one, maybe two conversations a week, and they're marathons. She's the only. I'm not a phone person, never have been, but she's the one person I can talk to for an hour, hour and a half. We've gone 2.5 hour phone conversations, and I texted her just yesterday that our marathon phone conversations, the way Hilarious phrases it, is quote gossiping about the big story, and I just love that phrase because that's what I love to do, gossip about the big story. And the more you do it, the more you get of it. The more you call it real, the more you get of it. Because the universe does rearrange itself to accommodate your picture of reality. So, uh, again, please share these videos with whomever, because it's time for us to like really, really, really get with the program. And everybody that's listening to these videos, you're part of the program, just whether you believe it or not. I just met a friend, a new subscriber. I just met her a week ago, or early part of this week. Well, it'll be a week tomorrow. Anyway, uh, she's part of the reason why I'm doing this video right now, because last week in the space of 3 days I had an opportunity 3 different times to share my perspective, to invite people to check out, to invite each one of those persons to check out this channel. And that was confirmation to me from the big me, from the universe, that okay, now it's time, because the universe does everything in threes. And when I saw 3 opportunities to do the same thing in 3 successive days, it was okay, Spirit, I got it. It's now time for me to get back in the saddle, get back with the program. A lot of changes. If you'll notice the background of this video, one of the changes is I moved from where I was 6 months ago, which was one of the many things that needed to be done in my life in this transitional, transformative period in my life to get from where I was to where I am at now. And it was a 6 month process. Uh, all in everything, because it's been like 6 months since I've recorded, and it was like everything done in divine timing. I don't rush anything. It's like if I'll do it when I get the direction to do it, and because I'm retired, I have more latitude to do that. Uh, so anyway, share these videos, please, so that we can not build up the channel, but that we can get more, uh, more, spread the word out. Because and I will be sharing later, in successive videos, that it's time for us to engage. It's time for all of us. Oh, what I was going to say about uh, this person, one of the people I met in the last 3 days. I met her about a week ago, and she said something just in the conversation, and it was just a conversation of a transaction. She'll know who I'm talking about, because she's was at the bank, was a bank teller. So when she's viewing this, she knows who I'm talking about. So uh, she said that just being talking, I was, and my focus is being from the big story. We were commenting about current events, and I mentioned something about it's basically BS, which I will definitely get into, because that's what this whole section is going to be all about. From my perspective, what's really going on, and yes, it is all BS. It is all part of the warfare that we're in. And so anyway, she mentioned that she knows she's a light worker, but she's not doing, she thinks she's a light worker, or she knows she's a light worker, but she needs to be more engaged. And I just looked at her, I said, just the simple fact that you know that phrase, that you know that word, means you are positively a light worker, and it's now time for you to start. She goes, because I was just asking, should I be doing more meditating or more this and that? And I just looked at her, I go, whatever you ask the universe for, the universe will provide. i.e., here I am standing in front of you, and I share with her a bunch of data. My channel, some of the channels that I follow, this one particular channel that I follow, and I'll share with you right now, X22 Report. I strongly recommend everybody follow, subscribe to X22 Report. It's a YouTube channel, guy named Dave. That's where I get my daily dose of news from. Quote, news slash current events. He does 2 videos a day, 5 days a week. Sometimes he'll do on Saturday. Generally, whenever Q posts, then he'll do a video. But because he's a Q follower and the whole 9 yards. But I basically resonate with him and the data that he shares, his perspective. He'll do a video, uh, does 2 a day, one on the political or on the financial angle, and then the second one on the political, geopolitical angle. I highly recommend everybody, all of you, go to X22 Report and subscribe and follow Dave. And I owe him nothing. He owes me nothing. I'm just sharing my data. This is good data that I resonate with, and this is what we all need to do for each other. Share each other's data that you resonate with. When it comes to spiritual follow, there's 2 channels that I follow on the quote spiritual esoteric level. Uh, Basically, I was sharing this with my sister Cynthia. I have my standards after 30 years of being spiritually awake and after well over 40 years of being politically aware of what's going on here in the 3D. I have developed some certain standards and I'm just fine with them. Nobody has to adhere to them, do anything with them. They're just my personal standards. On the political level, where I'm at in this now moment, if you're not a Q follower, I don't take anything you say, or I do take everything you say with a grain of salt. I absolutely do not listen to the mainstream media. I absolutely do not. I know who they are, I know who they're controlled by, and so I know I will always be lied to. So I get all of my information I get from online alternative news sources. But X22 Report is the one channel that I listen to specifically daily basis to get my data from. Okay, then on the spiritual level, I follow Blossom Goodchild. And like again, I owe her nothing except that uh, I resonate with her and the beings that she channels. When it comes to my spiritual perspective and spiritual information, getting following, if you just like in the 3D, if you don't endorse Q, I'm not going to listen to you, or I'm not going to take you serious if you don't follow Q or endorse Q, because I personally know that that's the real deal. Okay, what's truly going on, and anything else is BS. On a spiritual level, if you're not channeling if you're not channeling 5D and above perspectives, and or even the source, if your source of your information isn't from a channeled entity that is from the 5D or above, I'm really not going to listen to you, because I know that just as myself, I don't know everything, so no human knows everything. We all operate within our filters, which are based on our life, our life experiences, our environment, our cultural experiences. We all have these filters, and depending on where you're at, in consciousness, what vibrational level you are, depends on to the degree of what your filters you're operating through. So I basically a being, because like I say, with my experience with Hilarious in the 12-dimensional model that I use, my mentor Hilarious emanates from the 10th dimension and has never inhabited a human body, so he's never incarnated into the 3D. I would prefer to get my information from those higher dimensional sources than somebody's third dimensional individual perspective based on their filters. That's not good for me. Because, like I follow Blossom Goodchild, and she channels the Federation of Light. I've been following the Federation of Light for almost 25 years. Long before I met Blossom Goodchild, I was following them through other channels. So I'm very familiar and very comfortable with the frequency that the Federation of Light emanates from. And so that works for me. Uh, Magenta Pixie. I highly recommend you follow Blossom Goodchild. She's an Australian woman. She's got a YouTube channel, and that's her channel, Blossom Goodchild. The second person, other channel that I follow on an ongoing basis that I choose to be, this is who I follow and who I recommend, is the second one is Magenta Pixie. Spelled just like it sounds. The word magenta, like the color, and then the word pixie. That's her online name. And she channels a group that calls themselves the White Wing Collective Consciousness of Nine. Okay, I resonate frequency wise with that group, and and that's the only way I can qualify who they are is and why I follow them is because I resonate with their data. I resonate with their frequency. I resonate with their perspective. I resonate with their vibration. What they say, quote, rings true for me, within me. Again, the resonance. That's, you hear something, when you hear that the phrase, oh, that rang true. Well, that's because there is a vibrational resonance. That's why it, quote, rang true. So those are the only two that I truly follow. I just listened to this channel this morning that I subscribed to a couple weeks ago, and I'm pretty well resonating with her, but I'm not to the point where I'm ready to uh, recommend this channel. So I'm gonna just leave it as it is. But again, I highly recommend you guys follow Blossom Goodchild and Magenta Pixie from the spiritual perspective, from a third dimensional perspective. X22 Report. And there's a whole bunch of others that I listen to, but for truly getting my data straight, that I know is that inside of me I know to be true because I resonate with it, is X22 Report. So we're pushing 22 minutes. I really didn't want to go this long, but you guys, if you're familiar with me, I follow it until I feel that I'm done. And now I feel I'm done. This is the first. This is the introduction video to, quote, phase 2 of this channel. So again, I love you all. Blessings on your journey, and I will be seeing you soon.